remember this, how they took the land by making settlements. The farmer signs the papers and the same man is a terrorist. A terrorist, we better bury him, make him irrelevant. The wheat is for the taking, harvested by putting lead in him to strangle it with middlemen and corporation. Contract ridden, malnutrition, ammunition, blame religion. Better sell your lands and quit. All of it together makes you reminiscent of the British growing opium while famine's killing millions. Politics, how will they compete? It's just irrelevant. Monopolize the capital and selling it and storing it. I'm a little redneck and the devil is a celibate with billions in embezzlement. His pictures on the television, waving fists, sending kids to farmers to fight battles in every border area and naval war from martyrdom. Look at this, come on in, people coming double in. Farmers live strong within, take your bills and let them rip. Double profits, double rims, double crops, chicken crops, seed stocks, GMO, God move over, stop. Green revolution in low resolution, they're producing revenue to benefit the very few. Monsanto, Pepsi, Cola, Cargill, Donny and Ambani, opiating populations, burning forests, global warming. Thousands block the capitalists, hundreds dead and hundreds more are pouring in. You knew this, can't Google this, move a bit. I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see me believe. Farmers giving me so free. I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see me believe. Farmers giving love for free. Get big or get out.
This seed was given to us by God. We have sovereign rights to this seed. It is a symbol of our freedom to be who we are, to grow what we want to grow, to eat what we want to eat, to share what we want to share. It's a birthright and it is a symbol of our cultural heritage. I found my life's purpose growing this local seed and distributing it far and wide. And yes, I have been threatened, but I'm not fazed. It's something that I'm prepared to die for. No one has got the right to come and dictate to us which seed to grow, which seed to keep, which seed to share. What right do they have? Can they be above God who gave us this seed? Let me tell you one thing. Every day I get on my knees and I pray to God and I come against these multinationals that are trying to destroy our seed sovereignty. And they will not succeed. You will not succeed. At the end of the day, it is these bullies, these multinationals who benefit, not us. We are slowly killing ourselves and we are slowly killing off the environment while they go away happy with the fat bank accounts. You cannot fight God. You can intimidate us. You can bully me, but you will never succeed against God. And I will never stop growing this maize because it was given to me by God. I really get upset that a man, a person, an organization can take it upon themselves to dictate to everybody in the world how they should live their lives, what they should eat, what seed to grow. What right do you have? You've got no right, and I repeat myself, you will not succeed. It doesn't matter how many people you kill in the process, but you are not going to succeed. And my husband and I will not stop growing this local seed. In fact, we are looking for bigger tracts of land where we can grow this on a larger scale. You don't intimidate us. We fear only God, not man.
get it? Yeah, we in the heat of New Delhi with the farmers in the streets. My name is Young Daku and the Daku is a thief. I'm stealing all the pain, the suffering, the grief, cause big ags killing farmers for mimosas on the beach. From roadies to tortillas, Louisiana to Japan. It's your bread or your freedom, big ags got a plan. Pennies for the farmers and poison on your plate. Round up, keep rounding up the slaves. Let me give you some context and some history. Farmers growing crops in outright misery, harvesting suicides, attention please. They're coming for your land, your laws and your countries. I'm talking about an apple pie to rob the crop jobs, disorder, a rubber stamp to cover it all up. My brain waves going insane to maintain, poisoning the grain, selling the seeds of death strains. How you gonna bury the aftermath, Modi? The bodies, the bories, the bodies in the bories. The proof is in the pudding and the farmers in the capital. All your bills are bogus and you're grabbing all the capital. Agro-business is always so competitive, smiling they talk to senators, overseas piling skeletons only. A bone to pick, turn the cheek, now we gonna knock you out. So follow this, the motive is to knock you out. You want the profit up, we walking out, remember now. Mobile tragedy, the corpse is found, it happened how? Union Carbide and its toxic cloud, 1 million permanently disabled and many thousands down.
Angara vich golna menu, sanu nahi javange, sanu nahi javange, hum na chhodenge.
The problem in the present is the burdened MSP, the setting up the prices and the owner of the seeds. The farmer's gonna die, then where you gonna feed? And everybody's breathing through the burden of your greed. You own the marketplaces and you own the granary, financing gene drives, aiding biopiracy. Mr. Gates has bought the planet, so what else does he please? Farms without farmers, automation is your key. America, all hail the big ag progenitor. How you gonna save the farmers when you are a predator? Remember this, how they took the land by making settlements. The farmer signs the papers and the same man is a terrorist. A terrorist, we better bury him, make him irrelevant. The wheat is for the taking, harvested by putting lead in him. To strangle it with middlemen, incorporation, contract ridden, malnutrition, ammunition. Blame religion, better sell your lands and quit. All of it together makes you reminiscent of the British growing opium while famine's killing millions. Politics, how will they compete? It's just irrelevant. Monopolize the capital, then selling it and storing it.
I'm a little red and the devil is a celibate with billions in embezzlement. His pictures on the television, waving fists, sending kids of farmers to fight battles in every border area and naval war from martyrdom.
Look at this, come on in, people coming double in. Farmers live strong within, take your bills and let them rip. Double profits, double wins, double crops, GM crops, seed stocks, GMO, God move, overstop. Green revolution in low resolution, they're producing revenue to benefit the very few. Monsanto, Pepsi, Cola, Cargill, Dani and Ambani, opiating populations, burning forests, global warming. Thousands block the capitalists, hundreds dead and hundreds more are pouring in. You knew this, can't Google this, move a bit.
I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see, we believe farmers giving me so free. I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see, New Delhi, farmers giving like a free. Get big or get out.
This seed was given to us by God. We have sovereign right to this seed. It is a symbol of our freedom to be who we are, to grow what we want to grow, to eat what we want to eat, to share what we want to share. It's a birthright and it is a symbol of our cultural heritage. I found my life's purpose growing this local seed and distributing it far and wide. And yes, I have been threatened, but I'm not fazed. It's something that I'm prepared to die for. No one has got the right to come and dictate to us which seed to grow, which seed to keep, which seed to share. What right do they have? Can they be above God who gave us this seed? Let me tell you one thing. Every day I get on my knees and I pray to God and I come against these multinationals that are trying to destroy our seed sovereignty. And they will not succeed. You will not succeed. At the end of the day, it is these bullies, these multinationals who benefit, not us. We are slowly killing ourselves and we are slowly killing off the environment while they go away happy with the fat bank accounts. You cannot fight God. You can intimidate us. You can bully me, but you will never succeed against God. And I will never stop growing this maize because it was given to me by God. I really get upset that a man, a person, an organization can take it upon themselves to dictate to everybody in the world how they should live their lives, what they should eat, what seed to grow. What right do you have? You've got no right. And I repeat myself, you will not succeed. It doesn't matter how many people you kill in the process, but you are not going to succeed. And my husband and I will not stop growing this local seed. In fact, we are looking for bigger tracts of land where we can grow this on a larger scale. You don't intimidate us. We fear only God, not man.
Let's get it. Yeah, we in the heat of New Delhi with the farmers in the streets. My name is Young Daku and the Daku is a thief. I'm stealing all the pain, the suffering, the grief, cause big ags killing farmers from mimosas on the beach. From roadies to tortillas, Louisiana to Japan. It's your bread or your feed and big ags got a plan. Pennies for the farmers and poison on your plate. Round up, keep rounding up the slaves. Let me give you some context and some history. Farmers growing crops in outright misery, harvesting suicides, attention please. They're coming for your land, your laws and your countries. I'm talking about an awful plot to rob the crop jobs, disorder, a rubber stamp to cover it all up. My brain waves going insane to maintain, poisoning the grain, selling the seeds of death strains. How you gonna bury the aftermath? Modi, the bodies, the bories, the bodies in the bories. The proof is in the pudding and the farmers in the capital. All your bills are bogus and you're grabbing all the capital. Agro-business is always so competitive. Smiling, they talk the senators overseas piling skeletons only. A bone to pick, turn the cheek, now we gonna knock you out. So follow this, the motive is to knock you out. You want the profit up, we walking out, remember now. Mobile tragedy, the corpse is found, it happened how? Union Carbide and its toxic cloud, 1 million permanently disabled and many thousands down. The problem in the present is the burdened MSP, the setting of the prices and the owner of the seeds. The farmer's gonna die, then where you gonna feed? And everybody's breathing through the burden of your greed. You own the marketplaces and you own the granary, financing gene drives, aiding biopiracy. Mr. Gates has bought the planet, so what else does he please? Farms without farmers, automation is your key. America, all hail the big ag progenitor. How you gonna save the farmers when you are a predator? Remember this, how they took the land by making settlements. The farmer signs the papers and the same man is a terrorist. A terrorist, we better bury him, make him irrelevant. The wheat is for the taking, harvested by putting lead in him. To strangle it with middlemen and corporation, contract ridden, malnutrition, ammunition. Blame religion, better sell your lands and quit. All of it together makes you reminiscent of the British growing opium while famine's killing millions. Politics, how will they compete? It's just irrelevant. Monopolize the capital, then selling it and storing it.
I'm a little red again, the devil is a celibate with billions in embezzlement. His pictures on the television, waving fists, sending kids of farmers to fight battles in every border area, a naval war from martyrdom. Look at this, come on in, people coming double in. Farmers live strong within, take your bills and let them rip. Double profits, double wins, double crops, GM crops, seed stocks, GMO, God move, over stop.
green revolution in low resolution. They're producing revenue to benefit the very few. Monsanto, Pepsi, Cola, Cargill, Donny and Ambani, opiating populations, burning forests, global warming. Thousands block the capitalists, hundreds dead and hundreds more are pouring in. You knew this, can't Google this, move a bit. I just wanna let you know how I feel. This is real, come and see. We barely farmers giving these for free. I just wanna let you know how I feel. This is real, come and see. New Delhi farmers giving love for free. Get big or get out.
This seed was given to us by God. We have sovereign right to this seed. It is a symbol of our freedom to be who we are, to grow what we want to grow, to eat what we want to eat, to share what we want to share. It's a birthright, and it is a symbol of our cultural heritage. I found my life's purpose growing this local seed and distributing it far and wide. And yes, I have been threatened, but I'm not fazed. It's something that I'm prepared to die for. No one has got the right to come and dictate to us which seed to grow, which seed to keep, which seed to share. What right do they have? Can they be above God who gave us this seed? Let me tell you one thing. Every day I get on my knees and I pray to God and I come against these multinationals that are trying to destroy our seed sovereignty. And they will not succeed. You will not succeed. At the end of the day, it is these bullies, these multinationals who benefit, not us. We are slowly killing ourselves and we are slowly killing off the environment while they go away happy with fat bank accounts. You cannot fight God. You can intimidate us. You can bully me, but you will never succeed against God. And I will never stop growing this maize because it was given to me by God. I really get upset that a man, a person, an organization can take it upon themselves to dictate to everybody in the world how they should live their lives, what they should eat, what seed to grow. What right do you have? You've got no right. And I repeat myself, you will not succeed. It doesn't matter how many people you kill in the process, but you are not going to succeed. And my husband and I will not stop growing this local seed. In fact, we are looking for bigger tracts of land where we can grow this on a larger scale. You don't intimidate us. We fear only God, not man.
Let's get it. Yeah, we in the heat of New Delhi with the farmers in the streets. My name is Young Daku and the Daku is a thief. I'm stealing all the pain, the suffering, the grief, cause big ag's killing farmers for mimosas on the beach. From roadies to tortillas, Louisiana to Japan. It's your bread or your feed and big ag's got a plan. Pennies for the farmers and poison on your plate. Round up, keep rounding up the slaves. Let me give you some context and some history. Farmers growing crops in outright misery, harvesting suicides, attention please. They're coming for your land, your laws and your countries. I'm talking about an awful plot to rob the crop jobs, disorder, a rubber stamp to cover it all up. My brain waves going insane to maintain, poisoning the grain, selling the seeds of death strains. How you gonna bury the aftermath, Modi? The bodies, the bories, the bodies in the bories. The proof is in the pudding and the farmers in the capital. All your bills are bogus and you're grabbing all the capital. Agro-business is always so competitive, smiling they talk the senators, overseas piling skeletons only. A bone to pick, turn the cheek, now we gonna knock you out. So follow this, the motive is to knock you out. You want the profit up, we walking out, remember now. Mobile tragedy, the corpse is found, it happened how? Union Carbide and its toxic cloud, 1 million permanently disabled and many thousands down.
Angara vich golna mainu sanu nahi javange, sanu nahi javange, hum na chhodenge.
The problem in the present is the burdened MSP, the setting up the prices and the owner of the seeds. The farmer's gonna die, then where you gonna feed? And everybody's breathing through the burden of your greed. You own the marketplaces and you own the granary, financing gene drives, aiding biopiracy. Mr. Gates has bought the planet, so what else does he please? Farms without farmers, automation is your key. America, all hail the big ag progenitor. How you gonna save the farmers when you are a predator? Remember this, how they took the land by making settlements. The farmer signs the papers and the same man is a terrorist. A terrorist, we better bury him, make him irrelevant. The wheat is for the taking, harvested by putting lead in him. To strangle it with middlemen and corporation, contract ridden, malnutrition, ammunition. Blame religion, better sell your lands and quit. All of it together makes you reminiscent of the British growing opium while famine's killing millions. Politics, how will they compete? It's just irrelevant. Monopolize the capital and selling it in
and evil war from martyrdom. Look at this, come on in, people coming double in. Farmers live strong within, take your bills and let them rip. Double profits, double rims, double crops, GM crops, seed stocks, GMO, God move, overstop.
Green revolution in low resolution, they're producing revenue to benefit the very few. Monsanto, Pepsi, Cola, Cargill, Dani and Ambani, opiating populations, burning forests, global warming. Thousands block the capitalists, hundreds dead and hundreds more are pouring in. You knew this, can't Google this, move a bit.
I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see me Delhi, farmers giving me so free. I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see me Delhi, farmers giving love for free. Get big or get out.
This seed was given to us by God. We have sovereign right to this seed. It is a symbol of our freedom to be who we are, to grow what we want to grow, to eat what we want to eat, to share what we want to share. It's a birthright and it is a symbol of our cultural heritage. I found my life's purpose growing this local seed and distributing it far and wide. And yes, I have been threatened, but I'm not fazed. It's something that I'm prepared to die for. No one has got the right to come and dictate to us which seed to grow, which seed to keep, which seed to share. What right do they have? Can they be above God who gave us this seed? Let me tell you one thing. Every day I get on my knees and I pray to God and I come against these multinationals that are trying to destroy our seed sovereignty. And they will not succeed. You will not succeed. At the end of the day, it is these bullies, these multinationals who benefit, not us. We are slowly killing ourselves and we are slowly killing off the environment while they go away happy with fat bank accounts. You cannot fight God. You can intimidate us. You can bully me, but you will never succeed against God. And I will never stop growing this maize because it was given to me by God. I really get upset that a man, a person, an organization can take it upon themselves to dictate to everybody in the world how they should live their lives, what they should eat, what seed to grow. What right do you have? You've got no right. And I repeat myself, you will not succeed. It doesn't matter how many people you kill in the process, but you are not going to succeed. And my husband and I will not stop growing this local seed. In fact, we are looking for bigger tracts of land where we can grow this on a larger scale. You don't intimidate us. We fear only God, not man.
Get it? Yeah, we in the heat of New Delhi with the farmers in the streets. My name is Young Daku and a Daku is a thief. I'm stealing all the pain, the suffering, the grief, cause big ag's killing farmers for mimosas on the beach. From roadies to tortillas, Louisiana to Japan. It's your bread or your feed and big ag's got a plan. Pennies for the farmers and poison on your plate. Round up, keep rounding up the slaves. Let me give you some context and some history. Farmers growing crops in outright misery, harvesting suicides, attention please. They're coming for your land, your laws and your countries. I'm talking about an awful plot to rob the crop jobs, disorder, a rubber stamp to cover it all up. My brain waves going insane to maintain, poisoning the grain, selling the seeds of death strains. How you gonna bury the aftermath, Modi? The bodies, the bories, the bodies in the bories. The proof is in the pudding and the farmers in the capital. All your bills are bogus and you're grabbing all the capital. Agro-business is always so competitive, smiling they talk the senators, overseas piling skeletons only. A bone to pick, turn the cheek, now we gonna knock you out. So follow this, the motive is to knock you out. You want the profit up, we walking out, remember now. Hope all tragedy, the corpse is found, it happened how? Union Carbide and its toxic cloud, 1 million permanently disabled and many thousands down.
Angara vich golna menu sanu nahi javange, sanu nahi javange, hum na chhodenge.
The problem in the present is the burdened MSP, the setting of the prices and the owner of the seeds. The farmer's gonna die, then where you gonna feed? And everybody's breathing through the burden of your greed. You own the marketplaces and you own the granary, financing gene drives, aiding biopiracy. Mr. Gates has bought the planet, so what else does he please? Farms without farmers, automation is your key. America, all hail the big ag progenitor. How you gonna save the farmers when you are a predator? Remember this, how they took the land by making settlements. The farmer signs the papers and the same man is a terrorist. A terrorist, we better bury him, make him irrelevant. The wheat is for the taking, harvested by putting lead in him. To strangle it with middlemen and corporation, contract-ridden, malnutrition, ammunition. Blame religion, better sell your lands and quit. All of it together makes you reminiscent of the British growing opium while famine's killing millions. Politics, how will they compete? It's just irrelevant. Monopolize the capital, then selling it and storing it.
I'm a little and the devil is a celibate with billions in embezzlement. His pictures on the television, waving fists, sending kids of farmers to fight battles in every border area and naval war from martyrdom. Look at this, come on in, people coming double in. Farmers live strong within, take your bills and let them rip. Double profits, double wins, double crops, GM crops, seed stocks, GMO, God move, over stop.
Clean Green revolution in low resolution, they're producing revenue to benefit the very few. Monsanto, Pepsi, Cola, Cargill, Donny and Ambani, opiating populations, burning forests, global warming. Thousands block the capitalists, hundreds dead and hundreds more are pouring in. You knew this, can't Google this, move a bit.
I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see me believe. Farmers giving me so free. I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see me believe. Farmers giving like a free. Get big or get out.
This seed was given to us by God.
Okay, just before we start, please, can you kindly come to the second row, please? Kindly come to the second row. Ladies and gentlemen, may we all rise for the national anthem, please. Second stanza of the national anthem. Can we take the second stanza of the national anthem?
What right do they have? Can they be above God who gave us this seed? I mean,
can we take the second stanza of the national anthem, please, with our mouth? Let's sing. 1, 2, start.
To know in love and honesty to grow and living just and true with lofty heights attain to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. Indeed, we are going to build a nation where only peace and justice will reign. I want to, on behalf of SEFSA, welcome each and every one of us to this international symposium on GMOs and food security today, tomorrow. My name is Dr. Chris Iyama. I'm going to be moderating this event today, and I want to kindly crave your indulgence once again to kindly come to the second row, please. Thank you. Just before we start, I want to welcome the presence of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Niger State, His Excellency Governor Mohammed Umaru Bago, ably represented by Dr. Murtala Muhammad Bagana, Office of the Special Advisor on Special Duties to the Governor of Niger State. Please, a beautiful round of applause for His Excellency. I want to also specially recognize in our midst the hosts of this engagement today, no any other but the eminent astute Professor Christobeg Amwa. He's the Executive Director of SEFSA. Later today, we are also going to be joined by one of the deputy directors of HOMEF, who was here with us yesterday. That is Dr. Mariam Bassi Nimo. I hope I'm correct. Thank you. Yeah. And then we also have with us here Dr. Sheyi Ifelaja. Please, a beautiful round of applause. Do we have, is Professor Tekibi Tekim be here. Oh, Prof, you're welcome, sir. Thank you so much. And then the Director of Research and Policy for SEPSA, Mr. Shegu Adebayo. You know, yesterday we had an interesting conversation. The conversation was a high-level dialogue on GMOs. And we had a very interesting conversation with respect to what is happening to what we consume, what we eat. You know, as a nation or as a people of this great country, we normally say that you are what you eat. How much and how well do you know what you consume? That is the essence of this particular engagement today. And you see, the essence again is for us to help the government, the National Assembly and policymakers to help form precise policies on food security and of course what is happening with respect to agriculture in this country. So I want to once again welcome all of you for finding time out of your busy schedule to joining us in this engagement today. You are welcome. Just before we continue, I want to kindly welcome our very important host, the convener of this engagement today, no any other person but Professor Christobeg Amwa, to give his welcome address. Please, let's welcome him.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies of the press. On behalf of the Center for Food Safety and Agricultural Research, I exercise this singular privilege to welcome you to today's event, which marks a symposium organized by our center to espouse on food security today and tomorrow. Today we stand as a country, Nigeria, at the threshold of food scarcity. But underlying the food scarcity is the issue of food safety, because in the context of food availability, you cannot ignore the safety of the available food. But the bigger question before us today is, why would Nigeria, a country so endowed with a lot of natural vegetation, good weather, fertile soil, be standing at the threshold of an unprecedented food scarcity today? This is a very fundamental question that perhaps would have been asked before today, and if so, we would have avoided this threshold that we stand upon today discussing food scarcity in our national discourse. But in answering that question, it is hopeful that this symposium will unveil certain characteristics and parameters that perhaps as a nation we have ignored for so long, upward of a decade and a half above, that have driven us to this point today that we are talking about food scarcity. It will interest us to know that at SEPSA we are committed to endangering a discourse, a national and perhaps a global discourse on those factors that research is unveiling to us to be the culprits or palpable culprits of what is being orchestrated around the world, including Nigeria, as food scarcity. Perhaps it will interest our audience to understand that before the physical manifestation of scarcity of food and food products that Nigeria is experiencing today, our young people and our compatriots have before today gone through a harrowing experience of poor quality of food available. For example, Little wonder where certain regions of this country present with growing children that are stunted literally, perhaps because of the low quality of food that is available to young children, including quality protein. So today, in attempting to engender this discourse today with respect to food security today and tomorrow, we have an array of speakers who are patriotic Nigerians who have interrogated by virtue of their training and their vocation these concepts, this reality, and we'll be glad to open all our ears and our minds to be informed, to be educated, so that we will all agree at the end of today's symposium to a call to action that will necessitate Nigeria. And when we speak about Nigeria, we are speaking about you and us. It's not just about the government or the people in government, but it's for all of us. So, please let me have your, if I'm to continue. I should? Okay. As a Center for Food Safety and Agricultural Research, we are dedicated to advancing food safety and food security and also food sovereignty. We have a focus on promoting indigenous farming practices and empowering local communities to address the complex challenges facing global food and agroecological systems. And Nigeria is not an exception in this quagmire. In alignment with our core objectives, we have convened this symposium today to interrogate the crucial intersection of genetically modified organisms, environmental and human health, and food security and food sovereignty. We expect that at the end of this symposium, we will have discussions on key areas, including the impact of GMOs on Africa's agroecological, economic, and food sovereignty, and very importantly, we have in our presence the honor of a representative, an able representative of the former governor of Niger State, Governor Bago, ably represented by his special advisor on special duties, who is here with us, who will be doing justice to our theme today, which is food security today and tomorrow. We will also be listening to some other of our presenters who will be talking to us on indigenous seeds and agroecological diversity as a panacea for sustainable food production and food security. We also have discussants who will be talking to us on GMOs and the increasing risks of agrochemical contaminants to environmental health, food safety, and human safety. And of course, not leaving behind a pointed discussion on the socio-economic and geopolitical implications of food security and the GMOs in strategic economic development. For us at CEFSA, in conclusion, we believe that the issue of food security, food sovereignty, is actually an issue that borders on strategic national security. And as patriotic Nigerians, we cannot fold our hands and close our mouths to watch the security of food and the safety of Nigerians put in jeopardy by wrong policies and wrong interventions when we have knowledgeable people within this country that could rightly advise on the right steps to take. And that is what our Center for Food Safety and Agricultural Research is committed to. And we welcome you today and expect that this is not going to be just an event, but it will signal the commencement of a conversation that will be rolling forward even after today. Thank you for coming, and please settle in and enjoy our symposium. God bless you. At this juncture, I have the singular honor and pleasure as the director of CEFSA to invite the representative of the former governor of Niger State, the former governor. You know, in other states you have the executive governors, but here is a governor that is committed to agriculture and food sovereignty like no other governor in this country today. So he tags himself, and appropriately so, as the farmer governor, not former, farmer governor. He's promoting farming. So he is in the person of His Excellency Mohammed Umaru Bago. He is the farmer governor of Niger State. And he is ably represented by his special advisor on special duties. That is the special advisor on special duties to the governor of Niger State in the person of Dr. Murtala Muhammad Bagana. Please put your hands together as we welcome His Excellency to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Professor Amwa, Professor Vance, Dr. Chris, Mr. Adebayo, the civil society organization here present, the activists, the media, organized labor, development partners here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Please permit me to stand on an existing protocol, which is duly respected. My name is Dr. Murtala Muhammad Bagana. I'm the special advisor to His Excellency on special duties. I'm here to give a keynote address on his behalf. The former governor, Mohammed Umar Bago, is the governor of Niger State. And I want to use this opportunity to specifically thank the organizers for this timely discussion. It's high time we talk about food security and food sufficiency in Nigeria. Please permit me to read out His Excellency's speech. In modern times, Nigeria has been self-sufficient in food. In modern times, Nigeria has never been self-sufficient in food production. Hence, the state of emergency on food security as declared by His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in order to boost food production. This has become a very important policy goal. We have studied why our agricultural market system failed in Nigeria. For us in Niger State, we have been deliberate to understudy what has been the challenges. Hence, we are pushing for a corrective measures in Niger State, and we are being holistic about it. We have a structured vision that cut across improving livelihood of Nigerites, ensuring sustainable economy. You cannot have a sustainable economy without a stable security. So for us, we are deliberate to hinge our strategy around a sustainable economy. And you can't have sustainable economy without utilizing the abundance that Almighty God has given us, which in this instance is agriculture. You cannot have a sustainable economy without good governance. So we're deliberate about it in Niger State. And we know for us to provide that accountability and transparency and improve the way public sector work, we have to provide them with the tools for them to be able to work. We also have been deliberate around infrastructural revolution, what we call urban renewal. We want to change the face of Niger State. We want to improve infrastructure in our major city. And lastly, we are keen into specific developmental enablers. So these are 5 key strategies on how we want to reform how business is being implemented in Niger. But for today's discussion, we are focusing on agriculture. There are ranges of pressure at work in agricultural sector in Nigeria. And in order to survive, all businesses in the chain have to respond to what consumers care about and want. The evidence shows that consumers are concerned not only on the price, but also on the quality of produce. They expect the food to be safe, they expect the food to be well stored, and they also expect it to be nutritious. The entire Nigerian food chain is faced with post-harvest losses, inadequate cold chain logistics, rejection of exported produce for not meeting the standard. So when we send our end product abroad, a lot of them get turned back because we are not meeting the global standard. Low crop yield, lack of mechanization, it is just lip service. There is need, therefore, for us to change these circumstances. The different links in the food chain are mutually dependent. You agree, you guys are experts here. We all agree that there are interconnectivity between all these food chains. Just as farmers and growers need vigorous, profitable manufacturing, wholesaling, retailing, catering sector to buy this produce, So these sectors also need a successful and efficient supply chain if we need to meet the demands posed by consumers. The evidence in our own case is for us to engage in a wider consultation, emphasizing the priorities of reconnecting all the elements of the food chain, and in particular farmers with their markets, and strengthening links between various elements of food chain through reorganization, working together, and standardizing the face of how we do business. This is exactly how we have approached it in Niger State. I want to remind audience here that Niger State is the largest state by landmass in Nigeria. Niger State is almost three times to 4 times the size of Netherlands, which appears to be one of the largest exporters of agricultural produce in the world. Niger State, strategically in Nigeria map, occupies 8.3 million hectares of land. What are we doing with it? Blessed with good vegetation, arable land, we are occupant of 4 of the 6 hydro dams in Nigeria, with enough tributaries of River Niger and River Kaduna. Favorable climate. What are we doing with it? We have decided to take destiny in our hands in Niger State. That is why we are changing the narrative. What did we meet? Niger State faces the complex barriers suffered by many other Nigerian states. Limited finance, lack of technical know-how, low mechanization, and innovative technology. In short, the time is right for Niger State to align its sizable arable land and water resources to better agriculture. And if we can do it in Niger, we will be able to do it in Nigeria. We are promoting several of these changes. What are we doing? We are doing it in a different approach. We have outlined some of these initiatives, and I'm going to discuss that today. 1, we are looking at the entire value addition. What are we doing? We took the bull by the horn. In our unwavering commitment to change the entire value chain of agriculture, the government of Niger State, under its able leadership that has demonstrated sufficient political will, has made significant investment in procuring machineries, technology for cultivation, and land preparation. And it is not just lip service. A lot of you have seen it on the news. We walk the talk. The state government has procured a substantial number of agricultural equipment, input for enhanced agricultural activities, and this include 1,000 John Deere tractors. We have taken delivery of 300, and in the next 6 months, 700 will hit the shore of the country and will get their way to Niger State. 500 case tractors, out of which 100 units have already been delivered. 500 units of combined harvester with 50 units already delivered. 10,000 hand tillers for smallholders farmers. 10,000 solar irrigation water pumps, of which 1,000 have been delivered already. 1,000 pivot irrigation system ordered, 60 have already been delivered and they are in Niger State. 200,000 metric tons of NPK urea fertilizers with 20,000 tons already delivered. 100,000 liters of herbicide and 10,000 liters of this have already been delivered. 100,000 liters of pesticide ordered, 10,000 has been delivered. We are very, very deliberate in ensuring that when we want to mechanize agriculture, we have to have all this available. Furthermore, the Niger State has set up a PPP arrangement through Niger Food Security and Logistics Limited, a state-owned enterprise. And they have embarked on an ambitious land preparation and cultivation across the 25 local government areas in Niger State, within the 8 emirate councils of the state. We have 8 emirates in Niger State, scattered around these 25 local government. Through massive agricultural mechanization, using this equipment I have mentioned, because we have this equipment, we don't want to wait for the remaining 700 and others. We have gone into work and we have started delivering on our promise. So what are we doing? Through massive agricultural mechanization, we are on course to prepare and cultivate 1 million hectares of this land, laying the foundation for increased agricultural production, food sufficiency through the establishment of various innovative farm estates. So in Niger State, in clusters of this local government, we are going to establish what you guys are the experts here, what we call farm estate, where farmers will have all the necessary infrastructure. The establishment of this farm estate across 250,000 hectares to 5 million hectares across this local government will happen in the next 5 years for primary production, aggregation, processing, conditioned storage of farm produce, where a significant yield and quality increase is expected. We are hoping to realize this. And this is in order to reduce the cost of food produce and also to ensure that we have quality food all year round. We have also been deliberate in ensuring that we collaborate with farmers. One of the innovations that we have done in Niger State is we have linked them up to a health insurance scheme. If they are going to be in this farm estate, we are subsidizing their health care. It is only a healthy person that will be more productive. So we have signed an MOU with the Farmers Association and enrolled them in a health insurance scheme, one of the first of its kind in Nigeria. What is the second initiative? We have what we call the smallholders farmers engagement. What are we doing here? In Niger State, the government intends to graduate its farmers from, this whole focus of one farmer, 1 hectare, to ensuring that they farm even up to 15 hectares under consideration. So we are collaborating with 35,000 registered farmers through Niger State Farmers Association. The first batch of these registered farmers will be farming in 525,000 hectares in the next couple of months. What is the third initiative? What we call commercial farm engagement. So we have talked about the smaller holders. But for commercial farm engagement, what we are doing here is we are saying our 8.3 million hectares, we are leveraging on 5 million hectares of this land, and we are ambitious in cultivating it. You will bear with me, you will agree with me that Niger State, with River Niger and River Kaduna, and all the tributaries crossing the state, we will be working with companies, experts, professionals, with global farming, food processing and marketing experience, so that they can come into Niger State and be part of our agro-industrialization for growth and sustainable development. What else are we doing? Niger State Food System and Security Central Hub at the outskirts of Abuja. We intend to establish a wholesale market, processing and warehouse for all our produce in Niger State. And it's not only food, including livestock. What we are doing, what we intend to do, how do we encourage our relationship with livestock rearers? We can get these cows at a strategic location in Niger State. We slaughter them, we process them, we move them to the various parts of the country, down south or up north, even outside the shop, instead of these cows to move from one part of the country to the southern part and destroying a lot of farm land across the process. Why don't we bring them together and have this kind of central hub where we can not only have market for wholesale food, but also for our livestock? What is another initiative we are looking at? Transforming agriculture through village level infrastructure. Whether we like it or not, in the end, it is not us in the cities that farm. What we are doing is we are also trying to encourage a linkage with village level infrastructure, what we call the new Niger commodity market. With agricultural reform under the spotlight currently, Niger State government through the Niger Foods is considering a massive village level infrastructural project with measures like enhancing storage of produce and rehabilitation of all existing commodity market. Not only would this add value to agricultural supply chain, it will also empower local rural units and farmer communities, thereby ultimately leading to a sustainable development for all. The village level agri marketing infrastructure is the last remaining piece in this our giant puzzle, which has remained unfixed in Niger State and of course in Nigeria in general. This missing link at the bottom of the pyramid, which will be in form of modern warehouse storage, wholesale commodity unit and transportation hubs, and other agricultural related infrastructure will be done across all the 25 local governments in Niger State. That is what we intend to do. What other initiative are we looking at? Gender equality, because gender inequality exists in agricultural market system. Women in Nigeria produce about 70% of what we eat, and also bear the substantial responsibility for many aspects of market crops. Their access to prosperity are hampered by lack of this market infrastructure and finance in the agricultural value chain. We will be establishing what we call a pack houses at this village level for helping these women aggregate, sort, clean, and package their food product. The story of packing houses is the story of women working together to build communities. And if you build a woman, you build a nation. Am I correct? And that way, we make way for them to get their way to the top of the ladder. Export promotion. Just of recent, His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, commissioned the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Airport. It is not just an airport, it is also the first of its kind, a special agro-processing zone for perishable cargo handling, processing and storage center as part of our post-harvest improvement operation, ensuring better produce quality and higher standard when it comes to export of market prices. This is the first of its kind in Nigeria. Niger State intends to be the largest market for agricultural produce in Nigeria. We are therefore reorganizing. We are working with rural farmers, commercial farmers, food processing investors, agricultural service providers to promote a lawful food system. We have a very popular phrase in Niger State, and we have adopted it for this country. Niger, we will feed the nation. Niger State, we will feed the nation. Niger State is well positioned, therefore, to produce 50 million metric tons of assorted food crops annually, utilizing just about 3 million hectares by the year 2030. On the overall, Niger State intends to be the largest subnational food exporter in Nigeria and the entire sub-Saharan Africa. To achieve this objective, we are determined to attract investment, private sector equity, loans totaling over 500 billion annually in the next 7 years. It is clear, therefore, to us that the urgent need for infrastructure and institutional development in handling food for local consumption and export is eminent. It is unfortunate that a lawless food system can never thrive in the international market where sanity and rule of law is expected and prevails. So for us, we want to change the narrative. I want to once more thank you for gracing this occasion. Together, we can change the direction of food security and food sufficiency through determination, resilience, as we work together for a brighter and more prosperous future for the people of Niger State and Nigeria. If we get it right in Niger State, we will get it right in Nigeria. God bless Niger State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Please, you can do much, much better than that. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. While you were talking, please, I think the governor deserves a better round of applause than what you just did. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, why the representative of the governor was talking quite earlier, you would agree with me that that is a governor that means business. I mean, this is not just somebody just reading out speech. They are giving out precise information of what they are doing in terms of agriculture. And I tell us, if every governor adopts similar strategies, hunger will be eradicated from this country, because we are too blessed to be poor and that we are too blessed to be hungry. You know, I remember there was a certain governor between I think the administration that ended in 2023, all right, May 29, 2023. North Central Nigeria, I will not mention his name. Very funny. The president was supposed to come to that place to commission some kind of things that they told the governor, they told the people that they were doing in terms of agriculture. They went to a neighboring state in northeast to go and hire over 500 tractors. And then they branded it with the name of that particular state. And then they lied to the president then, Muhammadu Buhari, that they purchased these things because of the need to enhance agricultural services and development in that particular state. The moment the president left that particular state, the people that they rented those tractors came to retrieve back their tractors. You could imagine the kind of deception that goes around with respect to our agriculture and farming in this country. Listen, it is what you put, that is what you are going to get in. That's what you're going to get out. At the end of the day, if we can encourage, if state governors can adopt the strategies being implemented by the Niger state governors, I see the reason why they call him the farmer governor. The farmer governor. And you see, there's a whole lot that policymakers have to do with all these things that we are talking about. Just yesterday, the publication from Federal Allocation Committee shows the amount, the billions of, a particular state got about 38 point something billion. Federal allocation for February. Another state got 28 billion, another state got 10 billion, 13 billion, thereabout. The question is, are we holding these people accountable enough for them to tell us what they are doing with all these monies? A lot can be invested in agriculture and will encourage a lot of people to go back to agriculture. And that's the reason, that is the only reason why hunger can be eradicated. And for us, we'll be continuing to do what we're doing. And this goes again for SEFSA as an organization. Knowing fully well the commitment of the Niger State Governor, who is ably represented here today, the former governor and the governor of Niger State is well qualified to be an ambassador of SEFSA because of what he's doing. I want to once again thank you for that wonderful speech, not just a speech, but you gave us precise information of what you are doing in the state. And I want to encourage governors to adopt the same strategies. Please, without much ado, I want to welcome Dr. Mariam Nimo-Bassi. She is going to be leading us in her next presentation. And as she's coming up, can we have the video play out? Yes. Then after the video, that is a song. And then followed by the video. And then when she's talking, the presentation of her slide. You're welcome. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Mariam.
Let's get it. Yeah, we in the heat and
Pause it, please. Can I invite everybody here to sit so you can watch this? And then you'll come back on the high table so you don't miss out. Sorry.
We're sorry because this particular one couldn't come up.
That one is not coming up. Just hold on a bit. Thank you. Once again, my name is Mariam Bassi. I'm here to represent Dr. Nimo-Bassi. He's actually the doctor. I'm not the doctor. I'm a lawyer. And the power presentation I'll be presenting was actually prepared by him, and it's words. I'm only going to be re-echoing what he said, and once in a while I'm going to be injecting in my own words, which will be stronger. My father is very moderate, but I get very passionate and very concerned about these things. So when you hear me speaking very strongly, those are my words, not the words of the oracle, as we call him. So please, I want you to listen to these two short clips. One is a song by Young Adako, he's from India, and then another one is a voice of a small-scale farmer that represents the farmers of this world. And what they will be saying, what you'll be hearing, please listen to the words. Don't get carried away by the lyrics or the background of the music, but actually let it sink in. Because what Young Adako is saying, what the small-scale farmer is saying, is what we are experiencing in Nigeria, in Gambia, all over in Africa and in other developing countries. So please listen attentively, and my father's presentation would flow from there. Thank you. Please. Yes.
Let's get it. Yeah, we in the heat of New Delhi with the farmers in the streets. My name is Young Daku and Daku is a thief. I'm stealing all the pain, the suffering, the grief, cause big ags killing farmers for mimosas on the beach. From roadies to tortillas, Louisiana to Japan. It's your bread or your feed and big ags got a plan. Pennies for the farmers and poison on your plate. Round up, keep rounding up the slaves. Let me give you some context and some history. Farmers growing crops in outright misery. Harvesting suicides, attention please. They're coming for your land, your laws, and your countries. I'm talking about an awful plot to rob the crop jobs, disorder, a rubber stamp to cover it all up. My brain waves going insane to maintain, poisoning the grain, selling the seeds of death strains. How you gonna bury the aftermath? Modi, the bodies, the bories, the bodies in the bories. The proof is in the pudding and the farmers in the capital. All your bills are bogus and you're grabbing all the capital. Agro-business is always so competitive. Smiling, they talk the senators overseas, piling skeletons only. A bone to pick, turn the cheek, now we gonna knock you out. So follow this, the motive is to knock you out. You want the profit up, we walking out, remember now. Mobile tragedy, the corpse is found, it happened how? Union Carbide and its toxic cloud, 1 million permanently disabled and many thousands down.
Angara vich golden menu, sanu nahi javange, sanu nahi javange.
The problem in the present is the burdened MSP, the setting of the prices and the owner of the seeds. The farmer's gonna die, then where you gonna feed? And everybody's breathing through the burden of your greed. You own the marketplaces and you own the granary, financing gene drives, aiding biopiracy. Mr. Gates has bought the planet, so what else does he please? Farms without farmers, automation is your key. America, all hail the big ag progenitor. How you gonna save the farmers when you are a predator? Remember this, how they took the land by making settlements. The farmer signs the papers and the same man is a terrorist. A terrorist, we better bury him, make him irrelevant. The wheat is for the taking, harvested by putting lead in him. To strangle it with middlemen and corporation, contract ridden, malnutrition, ammunition. Blame religion, better sell your lands and quit. All of it together makes you reminiscent of the British growing opium while famine's killing millions. Politics, how will they compete? It's just irrelevant. Monopolize the capital, then selling it and storing it.
I'm a little heretic and the devil is a celibate with billions in embezzlement. His pictures on the television, waving fists, sending kids of farmers to fight battles in every border area in naval war from martyrdom.
Look at this, come on in, people coming double in. Farmers live strong within, take your bills and let them rip. Double profits, double rims, double crops, GM crops, seed stocks, GMO, God move over, stop. Green revolution in low resolution, they're producing revenue to benefit the very few. Monsanto, Pepsi, Cola, Cargill, Donnie and Ambani, opiating populations, burning forests, global warming. Thousands block the capitalists, hundreds dead and hundreds more are pouring in. You knew this, can't Google this, move a bit.
I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see me believe farmers giving me so free. I just wanna let you know how I feel, this is real, come and see me believe farmers giving love for free. Get big or get out.
This seed was given to us by God. We have sovereign right to this seed. It is a symbol of our freedom to be who we are, to grow what we want to grow, to eat what we want to eat, to share what we want to share. It's a birthright, and it is a symbol of our cultural heritage. I found my life's purpose growing this local seed and distributing it far and wide. And yes, I have been threatened, but I'm not fazed. It's something that I'm prepared to die for. No one has got the right to come and dictate to us which seed to grow, which seed to keep, which seed to share. What right do they have? Can they be above God who gave us this seed? Let me tell you one thing. Every day I get on my knees and I pray to God and I come against these multinationals that are trying to destroy our seed sovereignty. And they will not succeed. You will not succeed. At the end of the day, it is these bullies, these multinationals who benefit, not us. We are slowly killing ourselves and we are slowly killing off the environment while they go away happy with the fat bank accounts. You cannot fight God. You can intimidate us. You can bully me, but you will never succeed against God. And I will never stop growing this maize because it was given to me by God. I really get upset that a man, a person, an organization can take it upon themselves to dictate to everybody in the world how they should live their lives, what they should eat, what seed to grow. What right do you have? You've got no right. And I repeat myself, you will not succeed. It doesn't matter how many people you kill in the process, but you are not going to succeed. And my husband and I we will not stop growing this local seed. In fact, we are looking for bigger tracts of land where we can grow this on a larger scale. You don't intimidate us. We fear only God, not man.
I also get very angry when, like that woman, I'm very upset because the story of that woman is the story of us. These things that are happening is not just here. If you travel across the world, it's the same story, it's the same people. Why should our farmers' old age practice of saving, reusing, and exchanging seed be criminalized? In Tanzania now, if you save your seed, there's a law now, you're taken to prison. I hope it never happens in Nigeria. Farmers are the mainstay of our diets. They're the people who actually feed us. FAO says FAO is an agency of the United Nations. Studies have shown that 70% of the food that we eat in this world is produced by small-scale farmers. And I see no reason why people who feed us, people who are actually nourishing us, should not be at the center of these policies. I don't know why they should not be respected. I don't know why they should not be consulted. A few multinational companies, corporations who are just after profits and not people, are the one detecting what people should eat and how they should eat it, or because they want to make money. Yeah. But if you want to go, you can. I'm going to have they can stay so they can see the presentation. I don't know. It's better if they see. So the presentation is going to be streamed, so they can see the PowerPoints and then they can go. They can go up. Please, can you stream the presentations? Yes. So this is a presentation by Dr. Nimo Bassi, who would have loved to be here, but is currently in another important program, and he has asked me to present. He actually made this. Can you? It's something wrong. He actually made the, yes, blow it up a little bit. Yeah, thank you. The presentation, and said I should help him voice it. I'm going to do that, but once in a while, I will inject my voice because I feel so angry with what is happening because of the things I've seen and the things I've heard and the things I've actually witnessed. I'm a lawyer by background, and I am the Deputy Executive Director of Environmental Rights Action, Friends of the Earth Nigeria, and I coordinate a regional program for Friends of the Earth International. And I used to be the chair of an alliance called the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa. We are in 50 countries, almost everywhere in Africa, apart from 2 countries. So we've actually been around, and we see what is happening. So we speak from our lived experience. So we are speaking on GMOs halting Africa's agroecological, economic, and food sovereignty. So now, who feeds us, who controls our food, like I said, is the small-scale farmers. In 1992, there was a meeting in Cartagena, and every country, Nigeria was there, and they had an agreement and said, oh, there is a need for us to have a convention to govern this new and emerging technology, then genetically modified organisms, and it was called the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, and this was to regulate the adverse impacts of GMOs, and it was firmly established in the agenda. In 2000, when that convention was passed, the Convention on Biological Diversity, the protocol was the Cartagena Protocol to the Convention on Biological Diversity. International consensus has arisen to include the impacts to human beings and the socioeconomic impacts, the governor who spoke through his rep spoke about the impacts we're having with people rejecting our beans and all that. I'll get to that. So that in case anything happening, those who are bringing this quote and unquote technology will be able to be held accountable. Because it's not a question of if, it is when. There are laws because they feel these things have impacts. They have adverse impacts on our health, on our environment, on our biodiversity, so there needs to be rules. So all these world leaders came together in 2000, in 1992 and in 2000 to have a rule called the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. So, but then they recognizes that the farmers who produce should be protected, and there were a whole handful of rules. Top on that was a precautionary principle. Where you are in doubt, hold the brakes. Can we move on? The next slide, please. So you just look at that. It said food is life, food is culture, food is us. I mean, if you go to anywhere, if I say Edikai Kong, you know where I'm coming from. If I say Banga or starch, you know where that food is coming from. If you say, if you go to East Africa and you say Matoke, you know you're coming from East Africa. So food defines us. So at any point in your life or any time, don't allow anybody control what you will eat. If COVID taught us anything, it's that food should not come from very far miles, should come from within where you are. Because if it does, somebody controls your food and says, today I don't want to give you, are all dead. I mean, contrary to what was predicted, they said Africans were going to die like flies, but we didn't. Of course we had casualties, but we didn't die like that because our food was medicine. We had food and our people were eating, and we have the least casualties. And also with this war in Ukraine and Russia, I mean, imagine if all our food was coming from there. That means we would have been starving by now. So it goes to show that food is sovereign. Food is a right. People should be able to produce what they eat. That is why for us, we tend to call it food sovereignty, because food sovereignty is the right of the people to eat what they want, how they want to eat it, the quantity, the quality, and in a respectable manner. Food security is inside food. You can be food secure and you don't have food sovereignty. Food security means you are hungry. You can just eat anything. I can say, okay, you're hungry. I can give you tortillas. Tortillas is not our food. It's a food in Latin America. And just eat because you're hungry. Food security came into play in 2000, where Zambia had a drought. And the U.S. offered to give them food aid from the U.S. And they said, no, there is drought in the south, but we have food in the north. Why not give us money so we can buy food from the north so our people can eat what they are used to? And they said, no, let us give you food aid. You're hungry, just eat what you want. I mean, beggars don't have choices. I mean, that's what they tell us. Beggars don't have choices. So that is not food, that is food security. You want me to just eat anything because you feel I am hungry? No, we don't want to do that. We have a right to determine what we want to eat, the quantity we want to eat, and how we want to eat it. So food is a right. Article 25 says, can't really say that very well. There's Article 25 said everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and of his family, including food. The ECOSOC, UN Economic and Social Council, recognizes the fundamental right of everyone to be free from hunger. That's Article 11, Sub 2. Denial of food to prisoners can be interpreted as human rights and a degradable treatment. So food must be accessible, it must be culturally appropriate, it must be what you are used to. For me, I always, whenever I travel, I want to come back to eat what I want to eat, the food, my taste buds that I'm used to. So that is the right. The next one, please, so we can run through this. And it must be sufficient, it must be accessible, it must be free. It must, just like every other right, food should be recognized like that, because this is a fundamental right. At every point, yesterday, Shegun was saying, how many of us here have eaten? Even if, I mean, at a point, even if we fast, at least at one point or the other today, everybody is going to eat. So imagine something so important is being controlled by one person. There's going to be problems. Please, can you go to the next slide, please? Now, the issues of GMOs, like I said, have been on international discussions for a very long time, from more than 3 decades now, 1992. And we actually had an act, Nigerian Biosafety Management Act, that actually signed that bill into law during the era of President Goodluck. When that act was signed into law, many civil society organizations, ours, clergies, faith-based organizations, farmers, communities, we actually complained that law is not going to protect our farmers. That law is not going to protect Nigerians because the law had fundamental flaws. There were no provisions for liability and redress. The liability was false basis of strict liability. If you contaminate my environment, you poison my food, you should be able to pay. You should not ask me to prove. No, you should pay. And then they had people they were supposed to regulate, like NABDA, as in the board. How do you get somebody you're supposed to regulate inside your board? You're not going to do anything. And there were provisions there that they can collect gifts. So they were already ripe for conflict of interest to just do anything. And there was no provisions for public participation and access. An aspect of that is so important, it was at the discretion of the board. So there were a whole lot of things wrong with that act, and we called for it to be modified or strengthened or repealed, and everything went to deaf ears. Since that act came into being, most of the agency had given permits. They were just issuing permits like motor park people. Anybody that wanted it, they were given permits. So we now have in Nigeria, all this I'm saying you can find out. I'm a lawyer, so I know the importance of saying things that are not out of context. I mean, I have to be sure what I'm saying. Go to their website. We have GM cassava, maize, cowpea. In fact, cowpea has never been, it was the first GM cowpea was done in Nigeria. Wherever it was refused, Nigeria said, fine, we got it. So shocking was that the first crop, the BT plant, that was rejected in Burkina Faso in 14 February 2016, the government of Burkina Faso said, oh, these people, Monsanto brought in this GM cotton. And they said, oh, it was going to do wonders. They promised heaven, but it delivered hell. And the government said, enough is enough. We don't want it. This has failed. And that was the BT cotton Nigeria took and commercialized, despite its massive failure. So if at something like that happening, and you go to do it, what does that tell you? Are you really thinking about your people, thinking about the companies? As Nigerians will say, no be juju be that. So it's up to you to think about it. Please, the next slide. And after most of these GM crops have been engineered to tolerate what we call their herbicides. So it can kill other crops there, but it will not kill their crops. And you can imagine if I'm to spray sniper, we know sniper, on your food, would you eat it? Nobody will eat it. But this, like, it's a combo. When they have this GM maize, and then it comes with glyphosate. You use it so that it's like a twin. And this is what is used in producing our food. Studies have shown that even ants, animals, organisms do not even go near those GM crops because they have toxins, they are poisonous, and they don't want to eat it. So why should we, human beings, be subjected to such toxic poisons on our plate, on our environment, on our tummies? I think it's a recipe for disaster, and it should not be acceptable. Next, please. So we run through. Of course, there are massive and a lot of gaps from the government, from the scientists, from the public. For me, I feel, like I said, this is my dad's presentation. But if you hear me speaking strongly, it is my own words, not my dad. My dad is very moderate, but I am not, because I am very angry with these things because I've seen them. And please, can you bring back the slide? No, the one. They come to trick people and say, adopt GMOs by calling them improved varieties. What have you improved? If you take a beans that was given to us, none of this, if you can create a crop from scratch, well, they take what God has given to us, what is there in nature, you contaminate, pollute it, and then you say you've improved. You've improved nothing. You succeeded in contaminating something. What improvement did you do? You took cassava that God gave us. You went and tinkered with it, and then you come to tell me, what are you improving for God? You're doing nothing. So you see these people come in, contaminate our food, and it's not even our technology. These are imported technologies. Why can't we keep our food organic? God has blessed. Nigeria is a blessed country. If you eat corn and tree, sometimes it germinates on its own. Why do you want to rely on a technology that is so uncertain? Like I said, the laws are there because they said when there is contamination, when there's issues of risk and redress, there should be something to take care of it. If these GMOs were so free, they won't be laws governing. They are regulated because they are frosted with uncertainties, and people feel the impacts in most of them are still largely unknown, because even though they've been around for some time, people are still finding out many things. Yes, can we run through? Like I said, there are many concerns: local food, degradation of local culture, commodification of life, of nature. Why should anybody? You heard that woman said, why should a single man, why should a corporation, why should you play God? You're not God. You shouldn't do that with the food that was given to me. Why should you do that? It makes me really very angry myself too. You're that woman speaking. And the way they bully people when they try not to get the seeds, within time, I mean, God will keep us all of us alive. These people are going to be selling seeds to farmers. And you cannot plant those seeds unless, because they have, like, they put a patent to it. They put it rather, they own it. So you always go back to them to buy these seeds to plant. And if you don't, you are infringing on their right, and they can lock you up. So why should we lease out our life and give it to single companies or to individuals to tell us how to grow our food, how not to save our seeds? I think this is criminal, and we need to do something about it before this is finally entrenched in Nigeria or anywhere in Africa. Yes, let's move on, please. The concerns also talking about promotions of monocultures. Nature, look at this room. They're diverse people. We are all black, nice, handsome, beautiful people. Imagine if it is just one person. If everybody looks like just one person, it will be very boring. God gave people this diverse. Even twins don't look exactly the same. They have something different in their DNAs. So people, they want to grow just one single trait of crops so that they can control. Because if it is different, you cannot control. People strive on control. This is another form of colonization. Colonization of our food system, colonization of our lives. And I think we need to think about it. That somebody is coming to say, oh, you can't plant these seeds, or you come and buy the seeds from me. A person is definitely playing God, and it should not be accepted. Yes, and also eroding our genetic diversity. With time, all our natural varieties will be wiped out. So we have nothing to go back to. So we are going to rely on these companies for these seeds, companies for our food. That means, of course, it means this person controls you, and he who controls you controls your food. It's another form of colonization. So we should not kid ourselves that it's going to be business as usual. They are going to be dictating to us, and perhaps if they are angry, they can say, today we are not going to give you food, and people are going to die in groups. Yes, please, let's go. And the threats, we said the reduced crop and animal variety, the issue of contamination, and to the environment, our people. And of course, the safety of our food is not guaranteed. And we have the public cannot distinguish. If you see a GMO crop of fruit, there's no way you will know the difference. In some cases, the GMO crop looks even better than the natural variety. Because you think, oh, because it's looking very good, that is it. But it is not. So these are all the things. And there's no issue, even if they are not labeled. These people run away from labeling their food. My grandmother would say, if you are afraid of what you are doing, then you should be doing it. You don't want to tell people. You don't want people to know. These people are so scared of people knowing. They don't want people to differentiate. They don't want people to just bite, just eat it. So why are you? I mean, we have companies. I'm not promoting any of these companies. We have telecommunications, MTN, Airtel, Glo. They said, oh, they are able to beat their chest and stand behind their labels. These people are not. They try to hide behind the cloaks of things because they know with time this will come crumbling. So they are not proud of their quote and unquote their products, and it's something that should give us concern. And the issue of contamination is something I want to talk about. Starlink, please Google this when you go back. Starlink is one key lesson why the issues of GMO should never be accepted anywhere. Starlink is a variety of maize that was engineered for animal feed in the US. It was not authorized for human feeding because of the protein CRY9C that was engineered into that food. But somehow, the Starlink protein was found on taco shells. Taco shells is a maize derived food that is common in Latinos, and people started eating it. So inevitably, that means that maize that was supposed to be animal feed was found on the food chain. The contamination was breathtaking. They have to do mass. Of course, it's a developed country. They started recalling. Even though it was planted in some acres of land, it contaminated a whole diverse land. Let's assume it was planted in Abuja. It contaminated lands in Nasarawa, in Cross River, in Kano. And even though it was supposed to be seen just in yellow Starlink corn, it was seen in other white corn. So these are issues that you should not dabble with. And it was found on food aid to Japan, to Korea, and it was condemned. So you don't want to dabble with things that you cannot control. Once it is released, it has its life. You cannot recall them. You can't say, hey, come back here. It's already taken a life. Those inventing it cannot control their creations. And then another thing is maize. Mexico is the home country of maize. You see blue maize, you see red, you see yellow, you see white. They are diverse maize. it's a home country of maize. Recently, the US is trying to sue them because they wanted to bring in GMO, and they said, no, don't contaminate our variety. We want to keep our maize natural. US and Canada are saying no, they have to. Why would you force somebody to accept a gift if it is so free? We say it's not the need for clean teeth that makes the hippopotamus open his wide for the river to fake. No, they want something. Why? Why would if you want to give me, I say I don't want it, you just take it away. After all, it's a gift. But these people are forcing. They say you must accept this gift. So that should get us thinking. I'm almost rounding up now. Let's go. Yes. Now, some years back, the World Bank, well, of us know World Bank, this is a reputable organization, sponsored a report called the UN World Bank Assessment, Agricultural Knowledge, Science and Technology, acronyms AISTD. They brought in together 400 development experts, and it took 3 years to come up with this report. And in conclusion, they said that issues of food should be left in the hands of small-scale farmers, not in the hands of corporations, not in the hands of multinationals, but in the people who actually know what they are. These are people that are scientists. Food should be produced through agroecological methods. Agroecology is agriculture in harmony with nature, not against it. And it actually cools the planet. You don't want to contaminate my food. You don't want to poison my food and call it. You're not doing anything. So this is what the report says. But after this report was published, so many, of course, the corporations fought against it because they knew they're going to attack their business. So rounding up, I'll just say food is culture, food is life. At no point in time should you surrender your sovereignty to the hands of somebody. You heard that woman said, I will not allow you to bully me. Why should you bully me? Why should I leave? Why should you surrender your food? I'm happy the government of Niger is doing something about their food, and I hope food can be grown using agroecological methods free from all the toxic chemicals, GMOs, so that you can actually import your people. If you go, even the prince of it, they don't eat GMOs. There was a time Prince Charles said he doesn't eat GMOs. When Michelle Obama was in the White House, she said she has a garden. So if it is so good, and it's, why are they doing it? So please, our lives matter, our food matter. We should never, never surrender the rights to eat what we want to eat, the quantity we want to eat it, into the hands of multinationals who are just interested in making money. It should be people over profit. And with that, I said no to GMOs, no to any toxic pesticides. We want our food produced through agroecological means, safe and sound. Our lives matter, and we have a right to determine what we want to eat and how we want to eat it. And once these people doing this, they know that money does not grow into. There's no planet B. If you contaminate the food, no matter where you are, at a point you're going to eat it, you're not going to escape from it. Do not think it is us that are going to die. Everybody, it will get to you. So no to GMOs, and choose life. Choose the right food so that you will live. Thank you. I invite to get back to the high table. I'm sorry.
I think you can all do better than that. May we invite our special guest to come back to the high table, please. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you. Is that for the high table?
I'm sure while Barrister Miriam was speaking, you were gathering your questions. We're going to get to that time where you will ask questions and make contributions. Are we good? Are we good? All right. Thank you. We want to thank Dr. Miriam once again for that beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. Please, a beautiful round of applause once more for her as we move on to the next person. You know, that's why it's important to say, grow what you eat. I remember back in the days while we were growing up, we all had little garden, you know, just somewhere around our house or around our houses. And most of those, the pepper, the tomato, and most of those things, we grew them locally, and we ate what we planted. I don't know what is obtainable today. I think there's a whole lot that needs to be done in terms of agricultural policy reform. Okay. So I think we'll have to invite back Professor Christobeck back for his presentation on increasing the risk of agrochemical contaminants to environmental health, food, and human safety. Prof, please, let's welcome him with a beautiful round of applause.
Thank you once again. Thank you, Ambassador Chris, for a job well done. I will be talking to you on genetically modified organisms and the increasing risk of agrochemical contaminants in our environment, in our food, and in human bodies. My name is Christobeck Amoa. I'm a professor of inorganic and bioinorganic chemistry. And I did my PhD in experimental medicine. So traditionally, I am a chemist. And I feel I'm ably qualified to converse with you this morning about chemicals. No one knows about chemicals more than a chemist. Because we create them, we manipulate them, and we know what they do. Now, the subject of attention is GMOs. What are GMOs? Simply put, they are genetically modified organisms. Everybody that can understand English language can piece together the meaning from the name. Genetically modified organisms. That means they are organisms, and scientifically, an organism can be anything, any species, be it bacterium, or microbe, or plant, or animal species. And this terminology says their genetics is being modified, and if you dig deeper, it's through a process of biotechnology or molecular biology engineering. Now, GMOs are called genetically modified organisms because they come from seeds or from sources which are genetically modified or altered by chemical companies through a chemical biological process in a laboratory. At the beginning of the GMO discourse, one American company was at the center of it all. And recently, that company got bought by another company, I believe a European company, Bayer. But the original company that started promoting GMO was Monsanto in the US. Monsanto genetically modifies or alters crops by forcibly inserting into their seeds a poison from soil bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis, or Bt toxin. And this toxin kills insects by causing their stomachs to explode. That was the original engineering biotechnology that was used to create GMO seeds or GMO crops. Today, some new technologies have joined the fray, like the CRISPR technology, which is not exactly like the initial technology, but it ends up in the same framework. Secondly, Monsanto genetically modifies crops by inserting into their seeds chemicals to absorb the poisons in their agrochemical, their herbicide. Remember, Monsanto originally was not producing GM seeds. They were producing herbicides. They are actually a chemical company. Now they have been bought over by Bayer, so it's like there is a name change, but the same philosophy, the same methodologies. So they were a chemical company producing and marketing agrochemicals. And their flagship product was Roundup, which has the primary ingredient, the major component of Roundup was glyphosate. Glyphosate is the name for the chemical that is put in Roundup together with some other adjuvants and sold to farmers as a broad spectrum herbicide. You know, in the field, when a farmer plants crops, weeds will also grow. And the farmer does not have the control to determine the types of weeds that should grow. Different kinds of weeds, depending on the location, grow. So sometimes in the past, when farmers needed to apply herbicides, they will observe that some of the weeds will be cleared, while others will not, because the herbicides were not broad spectrum. Just like what you have in the field of pharmacy in the name of broad spectrum antibiotics, which means they can attack different bacteria, different microorganisms across a broader spectrum. So glyphosate was developed as a broad spectrum herbicide, which meant that when a farmer applied it onto the field, many different varieties or species of plant weeds would be cleared. And that made life and farming easier for the farmers. Now, what then followed was that as farmers applied glyphosate, their crops were also dying. So farmer will realize that after application of the herbicide, the next 24 or 48 hours or 72 hours, as the case may be, he or she goes to the farm to discover that even the crops that he or she was protecting were adversely affected by the herbicide. And this began to affect or impact on the sales profit of Monsanto, the parent company that was producing glyphosate and selling it under the trade name Roundup. Any one of you is a farmer out there, you might have come across this herbicide called Roundup. It's everywhere in Nigeria. Now, because the sales profit were affected and this company is established to make profit, their scientists had to think through to create a variation that would protect the crops from being affected by their chemical. And this was what gave birth to this agrochemical company and the many other agrochemical companies like Dow Chemicals venturing into the business of manufacturing, patenting, and selling or distributing genetically modified seeds. Now, the attraction is, as the genetically modified seeds were planted, when the farmer applies glyphosate or Roundup, the weeds will die, but the crop will be protected. So this attracted more farmers to using glyphosate, which translated to more financial profit for the manufacturers of Roundup. Now, in a nutshell, the business of genetically modified organisms or crops is actually a business. It's somebody's business. And he's trying to market it by compulsion and by leveraging on their lobby power on governments and politicians across the nations to submit their food sovereignty to a company. Think about it, that you need eyes to see. God made you and gave you eyes to see. And everybody, almost everybody, there are some blind people though, but majority of people on the planet Earth have eyes that they used to see. And then suddenly, I come up on the scene with my company, and my business is manufacturing eyes, and I manufacture eyes by modifying the eyes that you have, and then coming to tell you that I have improved vision eyes, and you must use them, and you subscribe to them. And worse still, you compel the members of your family, everybody, to subscribe to procuring those eyes from this company. And then one day, the company comes with another agenda through their surrogates to say that, okay, now what we think is that LGBTQ is natural, and you must subscribe to it. And then you say, no, my culture does not allow for gay and lesbian promotion. Then the company says, okay, if you don't subscribe to LGBTQ, we won't give you these eyes. Even if they give you the eyes, remember they have the scientific code that they use to modify your vision, and they can tweak it and make your vision worse. That is akin to what GMO is bringing to our national discourse. Now, these chemically modified crops had to be able to absorb the poisons of the pesticides and the herbicides sprayed on them and not die. Thus, the crops became labeled, or the seeds became labeled as Roundup Ready. So if you get to the market, some of the genetically modified seeds are labeled RR seeds. RR means Roundup Ready. Roundup Ready is a marketing language to tell you that this crop can, despite absorbing Roundup, which has glyphosate, and I'm going to talk about glyphosate, which has glyphosate and many other compounds inside, these crops are engineered to withstand glyphosate. That means, remember, maybe you didn't know, I should inform you that most of the crops that we eat as food are produced by plants that are described in plant biology as vascular plants. That means they have veins, just like animals have veins that transmit their, that form their circulatory system. Animals have veins and arteries. So, vascular plants also transport nutrients and water from down their roots to their foliage and vice versa. That's why some of the things that are sprayed on crops are sprayed on their foliage, on their leaves, but they get absorbed because the plant leaf has pores that are called stomata. And this stomata is open for both absorption of these things and also for respiration. Remember, the plant takes in carbon dioxide and exhales oxygen, which we use. So just a digression, you see, these people come and they hire a lot of foot soldiers in the name of non-governmental organizations or civil society organizations. And imagine they come and in the name of climate action or climate change, someone is saying that we need to reduce carbon dioxide. It's another rhetoric that is telling you that we need to reduce your number. Somebody is telling me that we need to reduce carbon dioxide. What does that mean to you? It means they are reducing the oxygen that you rely on because the plants must inhale carbon dioxide to exhale oxygen, which you and I need. So these are the rhetorics they come, and because we appear to be gullible, despite our so much education, we collect these things and put them on the national menu of Nigerians to consume, both in our minds and as food on the tables. Now, in a paper titled Health and Environmental Consequences of Genetically Modified Foods, Biofarming, and RBGH, Dr. Martin Donohoe of Portland State University in Oregon in US summarized the general nature of these crops, and I quote, "Genetically modified foods are 68% herbicide resistant, 19% produce their own pesticide, and 13% of them produce their own pesticide and are herbicide resistant." Another main GMO chemical is bovine growth hormone, RBGH. It's actually engineered with recombinant RNA, the same recombinant RNA that was incorporated in the COVID vaccine that is giving problems all over the world. Now, what recombinant bovine growth hormone does is when it is injected into cows, it helps them to produce more milk. So, you see, it carries, although this chemical stimulates milk production, it creates numerous biological, medical issues for the cows. And it creates serious medical issues regarding the milk which those cows produce. You see, it's the same rhetoric. Now, they brought RBGH to pastoralists, to animal farmers, and told them that if you inject this to the animals, they will produce more milk. And that translates to more profit for the farmer. It's the same language that they are bringing today with something like telomerase, that it will produce more yield. The question that I will pose to myself and to you and to the regulatory agency, thank God NDMA are here, is that did we interrogate how this maize was going to yield more for the farmer? But these are the biochemical processes that I am expounding to you here today. I supervise graduate students for both masters and PhD. I graduate them, and some of them carry out these researches. But sometimes when we come talking like this, somebody will tell us, you have to be careful. Did I go to school to bag a PhD in experimental medicine to be careful of what I know? Did Nigeria spend money to send me to Belfast, one of the prestigious universities in the United Kingdom, to do my PhD research, to come back and close my eyes and close my mouth and allow my compatriots to be deceived, to feed the financial appetite of one farmer in US or one, I don't know whether he's even a computer scientist. He gambled into it. To decide the health of the Nigerian environment and the health of Nigerians, that means I went to school to be a failure. And I'm not a failure. So, the various chemicals, and you see, something happened recently, because in nature, like those of you, the Honorable Special Advisor is a medical, is a clinician, is a doctor, you will understand what I'm saying, and some of you are medical personnel here. You see, in nature, even antibiotics, even the common anti-malarias, we know that there is broad resistance that is coming up. So naturally, in the hospitals, over there when I was doing my research in Belfast, we were researching on bug, these nosocomial infections that you pick up from the hospitals. You know, some of them are very difficult to treat because they live and dwell in the hospital environment. They are already used to some of those chemicals or medications that are used. So they grow resistance and they are termed as superbugs. The same thing happens to the insects against which these chemicals are sprayed. So what happens is that nowadays you find, if you are relating with local smallholder farmers, they tell you things like, oh, can I have the other microphone too? Yeah. You see, if you relate with farmers, now you observe that farmers will tell you that no, this herbicide doesn't work well again. But it used to work well. So even the grass, the weeds are developing resistance. And we have something in pesticide technology now that is termed super weeds. There are super weeds that if you apply ordinary glyphosate now, they won't go. In the same case with other pests that infest these crops, they also grow resistance. So we discovered in the field, in our research, that nowadays farmers now combine a cocktail of herbicides to be able to get the results of effective weed clearance. And what that implies is that recently, in one of our studies, we discovered that the farmers are now adding another chemical to glyphosate or to Roundup, because Roundup is actually more than glyphosate. It's a cocktail of many other chemical compounds. So farmers now add another very toxic and more dangerous chemical called 2,4-D. If you're a farmer, if you know 2,4-D. 2,4-D is actually the chemical that was referred to as Agent Orange in the American military terminology during the Vietnam War. It was 2,4-D, which was Agent Orange, that the American military were spraying from aircrafts over Vietnam to defoliate the Vietnamese forest and be able to effectively target the Viet Congs. So Agent Orange is banned internationally. Even glyphosate is banned in other places. But Agent Orange and many other banned organochlorines are added into glyphosate or into Roundup or are mixed as a cocktail by farmers to produce more effective weed clearance. Now, education comes into play now. Farmers are doing this because some marketing company is convincing them that this is what works. And we also know that the producers themselves are also adding more toxic chemicals into the parent Roundup to produce better results for farmers and therefore translate to better profit. But the implication and the subject, the thrust of my discourse with you this morning is the implications on our environment. When I went to the United Kingdom to research on my PhD, there is this chemical that is common that people use, even people in water, people that manage swimming pools. They apply copper sulfate. Copper sulfate is used to clear some of the what? The algae in the swimming pools, in water bodies. But what I discovered during my research in the UK was that copper sulfate, as benign, as ordinary, as safe as it looks, copper sulfate persists in the aquatic environment for 40 years. And during these 40 years, it affects generations of aquatic species. So that's what happens. I know what happens when the swimming pool the water stays sometime, it is evacuated and poured into the environment. And it runs off into surface water bodies. It translocates into groundwater, and everybody consumes it. So that is just copper sulfate. And even in the chemistry, the hazard rating of copper sulfate is low compared to the chemicals, the species that I'm talking about. So what happens now is that farmers are applying more toxic chemicals because, and I want you to listen to this part very well, because there is a genetically modified maize, NBMA, please listen to this. There is a genetically modified maize that Nigerian Biosafety Management Agency may be convinced to tell Nigerians that it is safe. Like I have a question to our amiable DG, that what method did you use to classify these genetically modified, these GMOs, to be safe for the Nigerian population to consume? We are not attacking government. We are partnering with governments so that we can better inform Nigerians. So now a crop species, a crop variety is genetically modified to resist and withstand herbicides, which gives the farmer more liberty to apply herbicides without bothering on how it will affect his crops. Translational explanations show us that once I know as a farmer that this thing I'm applying will not kill my crops again, I can apply it at liberty. I can apply it and that is what is happening in our environment. So that translates to more of the herbicides, more of the pesticides being applied to agricultural fields. Secondly, because the weeds are developing resistance, the pests are developing resistance, which calls for a cocktail of these chemicals to be built into the combo that is applied by farmers in the fields, which ordinarily, again, translates to me that whereas a particular chemical line or product was being applied, today we have a combo that is being applied. And little wonder, if I have more time, I will tell you about the biochemistry of glyphosate. Glyphosate and most of the herbicides that are promoted, that are built into the genetically modified seeds so that the crops can withstand insect attack, so that the crops can withstand additional herbicide application. This is what eventually end up on the menu of ordinary people who didn't have the privilege to understand the biochemistry of these things. And what that implies is that the agrochemical, the herbicide, the insecticide, or the pesticide as the general term is, as is applied to plants, the plant chemistry is distorted. The chemical is absorbed into the vasculature of the plant, and it quickly migrates or translocates to growth centers. And it dislodges, it affects the growth hormones of the plants. And that is what makes the weed to die. This same thing has been found to have impact, similar impact on humans, because you are ending up to eat it. As we have seen, glyphosate itself is a growth hormone disruptor. And normally, it affects androgens. The medical personnel here will understand what I'm saying. The androgens are used by the human biology to convert, to produce estrogens. And estrogens there's a hormone aromatase that is in between. And if you check, one of the most potent drug that is used as chemotherapy for breast cancer lines is produced by the same GMO companies. Monsanto produces it. And there is this disruption that makes the promotion of breast cells to become uncontrolled. And you find women, girls, coming up with rampant breast cancer issues. So there's so much about this. Now, this genetically modification that is being pushed on countries today is aimed at protecting the commercial profits of some companies and their stakeholders and their shareholders who are smiling to the banks with fat checks are the ones who have become the philanthropists of the world, who have become the guardians of the world, going from junketing from nation to nation, compelling countries to adopt these genetically modified organisms under the fake propaganda and promise of bumper yield, drought resistance, and disease resistance. Now, if you understand plant biology for the utilization of the crop, so these things come in these promises that are not true and have been proven by scientific research in many other countries that they are not true. For example, like Mary Ann cited the case in Burkina Faso, the BT cotton failed. It didn't produce bumper harvest, and Nigeria jumped at it, and it's there. Now, another thing is that this Roundup, as I said earlier, is now attracting, like there's a PhD that I'm currently supervising. The student has almost finished, is about to graduate. And we have found out that while they label this as Roundup, they put in a lot of other toxic chemicals, most of them which have been banned internationally and even in Nigeria. Just like in the last time when some of the organochlorines, I think I need to tell you about them. In the broad spectrum study of agrochemicals, herbicides, we have organochlorines and organophosphates. Glyphosate is an organophosphate. And DDT, that used to be used before, was an organochlorine. And the organochlorines are environmentally persistent. They are recalcitrant to degradation. The organophosphates environmentally degrade. But their challenge is that their metabolites, their degradation products, are more toxic than the original compounds. Whereas you have organochlorines, which will not degrade, and they are very cytotoxic, banned in Nigeria because of the because of the GMOs, which are resisting the herbicides and generating super weeds. Manufacturers have found a way to add the previously banned pesticides. In Nigeria, some of the organochlorines have found themselves in those labeled pesticides at Roundup, and our farmers are applying. So this is what is entering the environment. This is what is entering the crops, and this is what is finding itself in the humans that consume those crops. So aside from the biotechnology of genetically modified seeds that is injurious to human health, the pesticides, the concomitant pesticides that are applied are even doing greater damage and in a faster way. So when we are talking about genetically modified seeds, we are not just talking about the seed itself, but the concomitant cocktails of chemicals that they promote to be added into the environment. And today, if you go to hospitals, like the doctors here can attest, you can see there are some diseases that are referred to as modern day diseases or modern diseases, where you have 12-year-olds going down with type 2 diabetes, where you have young children going down with hypertension. These things are causing a lot of damage to the environment, a lot of damage to us. So I want to conclude by saying this. The subject of food sovereignty, food security, food availability is not a straight line subject that can be addressed by genetically modified organisms. Rather, they are creating, orchestrating food insecurity to market their genetically modified organisms so that it will enable them market their herbicides and their chemicals. And in doing so, effectively at peacetime, reduce the population of Nigerians, because the promoter of GMOs, who is a big shareholder in the organochemical or the agrochemical business, is also a promoter of population reduction. So we should watch out. Let's not be fooled by their rhetorics. Thank you, and God bless you.
That is the erudite professor. Please, a beautiful round of applause for him. I think we are too cold this afternoon, even though the weather is hot. I don't know why. Maybe we have to do 1 or 2 energizer before we continue. Huh? It's all right. Okay, so please, are you preparing your questions? All right. Okay, so without much ado, let us welcome a very important person in our midst today. Mr. Seyi Ifelaja is going to be speaking to us on socio-economic and geopolitical implications of food security and GMOs in strategic economic development. Mr. Seyi Ifelaja, please. Another round of applause for Mr. Seyi as he comes up.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on existing protocols, and I am grateful, immensely thankful to the organizers of this symposium. It's been quite enlightening, and when the anchor said you didn't respond well, that he thinks that the place is a little bit cold, I was answering to myself, who will hear all of those kind of things and not be cold? You know, that information sends shivers down anybody's spine. And from the 2 people that you have listened to already, that is Marian and Professor Amua. If we round it off right now and decide to go and take action, I'm sure we have more than enough information and more than enough drive to begin to address this thing. So I'm going to say pretty much, I'll try to keep it short, because some of the things that I have planned out to tell you have been itemized. Then we can only kind of like enforce it a little bit more, because it really borders on emphasizing. We are in a funny place. We're in a funny situation as a nation. And Prof mentioned that we're starting this fight in his open address like a decade and a half later. I dare say that we're starting it about 3 decades late. But the bad part is not to do anything at all. So I crave your indulgence that as you hear more, please be taking notes and be stirred up for us to take action, for us to begin to chart the course for a different narrative. Right now, we're at the receiving end. Can I have my slide up? Let me just run through it. The moderator gave a specific of the areas that I'm going to be covering, but I just tagged this, GMO, looking at it in a socio-economic way as an agent. So, GMO has a recolonization agent. One of the speakers, Marian, talked about colonization. I'm sure most of you understand colonization. It is prevailing over another country or territory's will with a foreign agenda, a foreign will, foreign motive. And that is where I see the acceptance of GMO taking us to as a nation. The diagram up there shows you that, GMOs are not going to solve nutritional problems or feed the world as it has been purported. They are about control, corporate control, global control. While we slept, we woke up to learn about certain provisions. Miriam talked about some laws in other countries that have criminalized farming as we know it. And she said a prayer that she hopes we never get to that stage in Nigeria. Let me shock you. In 2021, there was a seed law that was a bill and has been passed into law in Nigeria now. It is called the Plant Variety Protection Act. And it is going to do exactly what it did in those countries. Criminalize the way our farmers have known to farm now. And that law, what it is going to do, thank God for the special advisor. I love what you are doing in Niger, simply because you recognize the structure that we have. Smallholder farmers will be enabled, then commercials will now take it over from where they stop and do their thing. What these promoters of GMO wants to do is to wipe out the smallholder farmers, get them in line to do their own bidding. They don't want them to do farming as we know it. They want to control our food sovereignty. So they have positioned through lobbyists, they have lobbied the people that they can lobby to ensure that the law that would protect their activities has been passed in Nigeria in 2021 while men slept, when we were not watching. It was not debated. I am sure that the agencies of government that were supposed to be at the passing of that law were not informed. It wasn't critiqued. It wasn't looked at deeply. If it was, we want to see the reactions. And because I don't believe that anybody that hears what we are hearing today will be in a hurry to pass such a law with the sole aim of protecting the patenters or the intellectual properties owners of GMO seeds. That's what it seeks to do. And it is running, and it is active, and it can be weaponized to do their bidding as we speak. The architects of the new seed economy, global seed economy, are biotech firms like Prof described, and he mentioned specific names. They are the architects. They are the ones behind funding pseudo-researches, even in our country. I can get Prof to attest that there are researches that have been claimed to have been done and results that have been displayed to convince and say that, yes, it is good to go. We can adopt GMO seeds. But those researches didn't happen. Grants were given, palms were greased, and people turned and looked the other way that were supposed to do the right thing. We have that currently happening. And it has brought us to where we are so that we can have this conversation. Biotech firms are involved, and without surprise too, governments, foreign governments are involved, because some of these companies are state-sponsored. They don't come bearing their own agendas alone. They bear the agendas of their government. So we need to look at it. Foreign organizations, NGOs, they come by their thousands. They prescribe to us in Africa what we need to do, what the situation is, how critical it is if we don't take action now. And they come with the myriad of actions that they want us to take. In 2021, the global trade regime, that is the WTO, World Trade Organization, finalized details for a revolution in African agriculture in 2021. There is the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, whose protocols are being drawn up. Now, there are pending draft protocols at the World Trade Organization as to how companies or countries are going to engage in international trade. Because of this, they've jumped on the bandwagon of the Africa Free Trade Agreement, and they have made member nations of the AU, almost all 54 of them, to adopt that plant variety protection law that criminalizes the way we do agriculture in Africa. So as we speak, those laws have been passed. In Ghana, it has been passed. In Nigeria, it has been passed in some other African countries. And we need to begin to do something about repealing them and addressing them to serve our interests. Because as it is right now, they serve only foreign interest of food colonization designers. They want to regulate what we plant. It might surprise you to know that globally, 65,000 crop varieties good for food are on record, identified. 65,000. Who can guess how many of that 65,000 is being traded globally now, that they make 95% of the crops that are being traded globally? 12. Just 12. Wheat, rice, maize, that's corn, soya. And there is a way and there is a reason that it is like that. Cotton. Some people are interested in those particular crops. So they make you feel as if nothing else is as important. Those are the things you must eat. Cassava is not on that list of 12, even though we have some serious competencies with cassava. Yam is not on that list. Cocoyam is not there. Breadfruit is not there. The ones that we can grow and eat. Somebody spoke and talked about us having some particular type of crops being sent as aid. What they tell us is, Africa, you can farm, but farm what we need that we will export from you. Farm what we need, we will export it from you and pay you. But as far as what you need is concerned, the ones you want to eat, don't worry, we'll give it to you. That are the conditions for IMF loans. Those are the conditions for World Bank loans. They are part of the conditions. They will give you what you want to eat, but you farm for them what they need for their industries. Farm cocoa, farm rubber, farm cashew, so that we can get the raw cashew nuts. The cocoa will come to us, the bean, and come back to you as chocolate. The cotton will come to us and come back to you as fabrics. But, oh, you want to eat maize, don't worry, we'll give you. Even if you now want to plant, we'll supply you the seed. There is the one that will yield better. They are genetically modified already. That's the narrative. That is food colonization design. They want to control what you eat. Simple question. How many of you know the color of tomato? Can somebody tell me? You can just scream. The color of tomato, originally. You only know red, right? Everybody knows red. It's not even yellow. Tomato, originally, is purple. Tomato is not red. It was engineered and changed to be red. Why? Because the person that wanted to sell red tomato put it in your face as red. It looked cosmetically appealing when it is red, and it turns in your pot, and they add oil. Then they add that chicken. Cosmetic appearance over the years has made all of us believe that tomato is originally red. It was never red. You saw the corn that was shown in that documentary. Different colors. Now, you have demands for white maize or yellow maize because somebody wants to sell white or yellow maize. They tell you that the oils that are natural to you are detrimental. Before now, palm oil used to be a no-no. Groundnut oil, no, don't touch it. Cholesterol. They tell you coconut oil, no. They're not good for you. Which one should you use? Corn oil. In your biology, does corn look like a seed that produces oil? Sunflower oil. Canola oil. Oils that would require tons of energy to squeeze out. And they are complaining about climate change. You know what it will take you to get oil out of corn? What does it take you to get oil out of groundnut? Nothing. Next to nothing. But they will condemn those for us. And they will serve us their own narrative. That is corn oil you should eat. It is good for your heart function. Rapeseed oil, aka canola, is oil used for biofuel, used for engine oil, for Formula 1 cars, for Rolls Royce. That is the rapeseed oil. But that is what they are selling to you for in canola. And they call them vegetable oils and all whatnot. If anybody is even listening now and you are finding this out now, you are late. You better go back to groundnut oil, palm oil, go back to coconut oil, and all of the oils that are, indigenous to you for your food. We're not saying you should eat it too much, but those are the healthy oils that we have. I don't have any business eating foreign apples, pear, all of those things that you see, grape. They don't grow here. They don't grow here. There is a fruit for every season. Almost like every month, we have a fruit that is flourishing, that is blooming. God designed for us. Right now there is mango, right? We're in mango season. Last month it was cherry, agbalumo. Now it's between mango and cashew. The cashew, we don't see the cashew apple again because they don't let it off the farm. It is only the raw cashew nuts that they want to export for more money. One of the things that I think the economic situation is going to help us do is to profile us, our thinking the right way, because we've come of age. Our priorities should be rejigged. I said that because I had observed for a long time that a bottle of cashew nut was more expensive for years than a crate of egg. For years. I don't know what the justification for that economics is, but I believe it is wrong priority. Why should groundnut bottle or cashew nut bottle be more expensive than a crate of egg? I think there is an imbalance, but we're getting to where we will balance things out properly. Globalization is what they call it. But I would like to refer to it as the new colonization. Globalization in itself is a good thing. Let me quote Rennick and Deng in 2000. They said, globalization is said to be the key governance challenge for the 21st century. And I understood the kind of globalization that they're talking about. It is the globalization of those that are colonialist in their mindset. The globalization of control. When they say globalization, they don't mean what we mean. Because what we mean is, the world becomes one village where we can be very interconnected and do business and move around with minimum restrictions. But what they mean when they say globalization, their own is for them to spread to international markets and develop nations, as in the agendas of developed nations, spread to international markets, dominate with your goods, dominate with your ideologies, with your thinking, dominate capital, dominate labor, dominate how things are done. That's what globalization means to them. Be subservient. It is the new colonization. One of the chief characteristics of this globalization dynamic is that they overwhelm attempts at state level to manage globalization alone or control its effect. That is Smith and Naim in 2000 at the United Nations Millennium Assembly. It was said that is what globalists do. They run countries and interfere through their NGOs to make sure that the result of the globalizations that they are promising you as a country, you can't handle it. You would always need help. I want to show you something interesting. There are a lot of historicals, but Miriam talked about so many of them. The cotton thing with the GMO, how that so much was promised with GMO cotton and it didn't deliver. With the beans, she talked about cowpea. African farmers that got it, the feedback was that it didn't taste fine. It didn't taste like our cowpea. So many complaints have been coming like that. Please, can I have the slide up? You're going to take it to page... Okay, let's look at page 15.